Alright, and that looks stable once again. So, welcome to Wayback Theater presents The Mind's Eye, a Dungeons & Dragons Hindsight production. So, The Mind's Eye was a series of articles that ran on the Wizards of the Coast website during the 3rd edition era, covering both 3.0 and 3.5, with a focus on psionic materials, as the name hints at. Today we'll be looking at the 3.5 era of that stuff, with the exception of the Psychic Rogue, which we already went over in a previous stream. So, entitled Psychic Rogue and Friends. Go look there if you want stuff on that. But yeah. Starting with the first article we're going to look at, which is the standard issue changeover explaining the differences and conversions from the Psionic Handbook to the expanded Psionic Handbook, which is best covered in its own review when I get around to doing 3.5 or 3.0 stuff. So I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. Also, here's some monsters, but there's no pictures, so it's really just stats and descriptions. Also, prestige classes, or more specifically, updates to old ones from earlier articles. Which is why we're not starting with the earlier articles partially. But yeah, so this prestige class, Constructor. An Astral Construct-based manifesting class that loses its first level of manifesting for, let's see, some damaging menu options, of which the menu C stuff is particularly good. Some protection from Dispel for your constructs, a +4 bonus to manifest Astral Constructs defensively. 2 more instances of Boost Construct, which gives you an additional menu choice. By default, you get 1 menu choice. The Boost Astral Construct feat normally gives you another. Eventually, when you go through this class, you'll have 4. A 1 minute per level duration on Astral Construct instead of the normal 1 round per 1 round per level duration. The ability to use Astral Construct to summon a utility construct, which has a 1 hour per level duration, but has no menu options and can't fight. It's literally what it sounds like. It's a utility thing. The ability to augment Astral Construct to summon more than 1 at a time at the cost of 2 PP power points per up to 3 additional constructs. And a capstone that eats another level of manifesting that lets you quicken Astral Construct at the cost of your psionic focus only. This class was created before the change to Astral Construct to complete psionics, which made it so you can only summon 1 construct at a time, and is strong on the level of Druid Summoner before it hits class level 10, where it becomes probably just plain fucking busted. Being able to manifest Astral Construct as a swift action, get back your Psychic Focus as a move action, then manifest another power for its standard action is fucking silly, but this is also at a minimum of level 16 before that can happen. After the change to Astral Construct that restricts you to 1 manifestation at a time, this class is really strong but fine, and much more in line. Qualifying for the class requires 2 powers from the Shaper discipline list, meaning you're probably stuck with being a Shaper Scion unless you want to waste 2 feats on Expanded Knowledge, but that's not the worst thing in the world either. Let's see. Next one. Crystal Master, a psionic class focused on shoving gems in itself. You lose a couple of manifestor levels, get the improved Psi Crystal feat, which gives it another personality, which is effectively a bonus to 1 of your skills, to your initiative, or to saves. And you get 5 gems, 1 embedded in each of your limbs and chests and you also eventually get to count your Psi Crystal as a gem for the effect scaling of the gems. As for what they do, that's on the next page, because they take up more space, but aren't actually that complex. Strangely, the amount of words here, it doesn't really amount to that much. It's fairly simple. The best gems are probably the stat ones, which give a typeless +1 bonus that scales eventually to a +3 at level 10 effectively. The immunity ones are useful if you are fighting specific things, but they are split up way too much to really be useful generally. Deep Crystal is probably good for Metamorphosis-focused manifestors as well. Just makes just lets you damage things with natural lets you spend power points to damage things better with natural attacks or unarmed strikes. So if you're shifting forms, it's a fairly good damage boost. Jet gives you a crap ton of free fly uses per day, and all the level 6, 8, and 10 restricted gems are either narrow or just plain fucking garbage, and Sigilite is easily the most worthless anything I've seen in this game. So this... You gain immunity to the effects of the Psychic Hull feat. a feat I had to look the fuck up in a book that I have practically memorized.
What does that feat even do?
Yeah, I didn't even know the feat existed because of how awful it was. It just as a matter of fact, I looked this up because of this power. I don't fucking remember what it does.
Oh my.
It is that much of a memory hole and that worthless.
Aha, it's doing its job.
Yep. So this class is fine. You can probably find a use for it, but it's also very boring. Though less so than sticking around in base Scion, which doesn't really get you much anyways. The other more offensively minded manifestors probably benefit from the crystals more, but the class also has a poor attack bonus and a D4 hit die, so considering all the other full manifestors have a medium base attack bonus, the difference isn't that big, but it's still there. It might also not be worth it to go beyond like level 6, since the difference between a +2 to a stat and a +3 to a stat is sometimes non-existent.
So the psionic hole is when a foe strikes you in melee combat, the foe immediately loses its psionic focus, if any. Also, if you're the target of a power, the manifestor must spend an additional number of power points equal to your wisdom bonus, or the power fails. So, no enemy you're ever running into is going to have this feat.
No enemy you're running into is ever going to have this feat, and you having this feat will never apply to any enemy you run into.
You can't have this feat because you can do powers.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It's one of those feats.
If you are capable of manifesting powers, you cannot take this feat. It is for non-psionics only.
I mean, I guess if you know you're running a campaign that's focused on the enemies having psionics,
If you're running
and you're intentionally running a character who isn't a psionic, I guess then it would be
no, it's still bad.
Consideration.
No,
I was gonna say,
no, it's not even in consideration. like that does basically nothing still to a psionic character the thing is supposed to fuck with. It is an insignificant amount of extra power points, or it's going to make it so when you hit them, the psionic focus that you're spending in order to do extra damage gets spent.
If you're running into something with a high enough wisdom score or high enough wisdom bonus to make the amount of extra power points you have to spend to actually matter, there's a good chance you're going to get rolled anyways.
Yeah.
Fair.
Let's see.
Because you're talking about things that just have nonsensical level stats to begin with.
Yeah. And here we say he just basically optional rebuilds for the pyrokineticist using other elements and some modifiers you may want to have in case you do that. Just a strange little modifier for pyrokinesis if you really want to do it that way. Obviously published before cryokinesis actually came out in Frostburn and was a very different class. Sangahern, a psionic healing class that predates complete psionic. You lose a level of manifesting and get access to Sangahern powers list that you have to exclusively choose from when you take levels in this class. The ability to expend your psionic focus to add your class level to healing checks. DR that scales up to 5. The ability to expend your psionic focus as a standard action to change the range of some of your personal powers to touch for class level rounds. And fast healing that eventually goes up to 3. If you want to psionically heal, just play an Ardent and take the Life Mantle. You can't actually heal as this character until your character level reaches 5, and even then you have to waste an action turning your healing on. The best thing you can do is manifest Vigor on others, which is a legit good trick, as Vigor is 5 temporary hit points per power point you spend. This is on par with the best psionic heal. It's as efficient as Mend Wounds, basically, which is the good psionic heal. But Body Adjustment is just not good thanks to its 1-round manifesting time, though it's more efficient than low-level psionic healing. That's previously what the normal healing was, which only ever worked on you, so I never mentioned it. It's also like a full round action. It's good in a party that doesn't actually have anyone to heal you, but otherwise it's usually not worth a damn. And yeah, it's less efficient than Mend Wounds. Oh, let's see. And you get the other issue being when you... But yeah, take it from another angle as like a prestige class for Psionic Warrior that heals on the side. You're trading about 3 1/3 feats that Psionic Warrior would normally give you if you just stayed there for about 5 DR and 3 fast healing, which I'd rather have the 3.5 or 3 1/3 feats, especially since Psionic Warrior feats are the most broad in the game. They're fighter feats or psionic feats, your choice.
Yeah.
Let's see. And stealthy classes and powers, we already went over Psionic Rogue, but there were also new feats and powers. I think I went over all the good powers as well there. There were also these feats. Let's see, Psionic Focus, that gives you a bonus to 3 things, who cares? May expend your Psionic Focus to feint as a swift action, and then you can get it back as your move action. And by the way, you have improved feint, so you could also just feint as a move action.
Right. I guess if you had to move to a target, you could then feint as a swift action to be able to do your attack that round.
Yeah.
It gives you options. It's not good if you're already next to someone.
Let's see. And ignore tumble DC modifiers for difficult surfaces and accelerated tumbling when you spend your Psionic Focus, so, which is good for 1 square, I guess. Yeah, it's the powers themselves. The good ones are like Dimensional Pocket wasn't bad. Featherweight is interesting, though not necessarily really high level for it, though, and not necessarily all that good. Mostly it's a +8 bonus on move silently checks, and you can augment it for a good duration. So if you're sneaking around, it's not bad. Psionic Fine Traps. Microkinesis, just little utility things. The things that basically went with Psychic Rogue a little bit. And the Psychic Assassin Prestige class. Assassin, but Psionic, sort of. Not really. You have to be a Manifester for 5 levels to get into this class, and you lose either 4 or 5 levels of Manifesting, depending on whether the powers known section is correct or the chart over here is correct. But you get 4 sneak attack dice, death attack, poison use, bonuses to save against poison, a constant danger sense power, which is effectively just a +4 trap sense, that augments for uncanny dodge, improved uncanny dodge. All this comes free as you gain levels and is constant, though you need to keep your Psionic Focus up for that to happen. You get Hide in Plain Sight, and 2 rogue-style special abilities of your choice from a list that includes, let's see, a free use of Cloud Mine, which hides you from a thing until you do some hostile action or that change, or something that changes the environment. A once per day project image, extra sneak attack dice, improved evasion with no need to previously have evasion, 2 int damage whenever you sneak attack. Dimension Door up to 60 feet per day between shadows that you can expend your Psionic Focus to do as a move action. Skill Mastery. Slippery Mind, which gives you another save for mind affecting things around later, or a bonus feat. So this class is not good for Psychic Rogue, who's better off staying in its own class. And while Lurk gains more sneak attack dice than it normally would if it goes into this class, the other Psychic Rogue class basically, the loss of Lurk augments isn't really worth it in comparison. I'd rather be able to sneak attack undead and constructs than have any of these special abilities. For the non-rogues, like the psionic classes, it's also hard to justify the loss of so many manifestor levels for some sneak attack dice. Uncanny dodge and uncanny dodge, and a couple of special abilities. Rating below normal assassin is kind of a thing. All right, psychic meditation. This thing requires chewing through some of its vocabulary, but it's simpler than it looks, and so let's get to that. So when you take this feat, this gives you the ability to awaken a psionic center, which translates to you just meditate for 8 hours, select one of those bonuses, you gain that bonus once per day for 1 hour as a standard action, until you hit 0 hit points or decide to reset it, at which point you have to meditate for 8 hours again to get that once per day power back, but you can select a new one. The deep feat, the deep psionic meditation feat lets you awaken 2 more centers and gives you 2 more uses of this ability. or yeah, sorry, which brings up to 3 activations a day. The first time you take it, you can take this feat up to 3 times. However, using the same bonus more than once per day costs a cumulative extra use every time you do that. So if you wanted to get +3 natural armor bonus to AC twice in the same day, it would cost you 3 uses, for example. Also, magic items here, and the most notable is the Resonance Crystal that extends the duration of any of the powers you activate to 3 hours at the cost of 1 power point. And I'm going over all of this feat's nonsense because there's a prestige class based on it. So Meditant, a class that cares about all that stuff I went over, it loses a manifester level to spend less time basically it spends less time meditating on the feat. Can meditate for an hour instead of eating or drinking for the day. Another eventual 10 activations of the meditation stuff on top of the 7 you get from having all the feats. The ability to scale up the effects of your centers, the bonuses, by meditating more, increasing their activation costs by 2 and eventually 3, but scaling up the effect. Also, the ability to turn a targeted mind-affecting ability that you saved against back on its owner, or as long as you have your psionic focus up. The ability to turn ethereal for an unlimited duration and back again 3 times per day. And a capstone that lets you activate your meditate things as a swift action as long as you have all of them meditated on, and their duration is now 4 hours. So grok together, this class is strong regardless of what you're doing, as it's got enough uses of meditate to keep constant extra typeless physical or mental stat bonuses, as well as good amounts of natural armor, save bonuses, and a reasonable amount of temporary HP, and is so much better once you get the capstone and can do it as a swift action. Though it has that's at character level 16 at that point. The rub here is none of these bonuses are worth spending a turn of combat on, and trying to keep one up all the time is painful, costing like 10 uses to keep something up for 12 hours if you account for the resonance crystal on the previous page. Psychic Weapon Master, a martial psionic class that specializes in one type of weapon and has the requirement of crystal melee weapon. What this means is you need to choose a melee weapon when you take your first level in this class. Its abilities only work with a weapon of that type that is made out of crystal. There's 2 types of crystal: mundane, which is just a normal material, and deep, which lets you as a free action spend 2 power points to add 2d6 to the next time it hits. Note this class lets you use any weapon that meets those 2 prerequisites. So if you choose longsword, you can use any crystal longsword as long as that's the weapon of your weapon of choice. So this class requires a large amount of feats and a good attack bonus and 3 and 3rd level powers, and loses half of its manifesting levels, but it gets you the ability to bond a weapon and enchant it via EXP and meditating. The ability to maximize damage on a hit with your weapon of choice class level times per day, with additional uses at the cost of 3 power points, and the caveat that this does not maximize the extra damage from a crit. The ability to increase your crit modifier of your weapon of choice by a number of times per day equal to basically half your class levels. A +1 to hit with your weapon of choice. Combat reflexes is feat for free, which gives you dex bonus, extra attacks of opportunity, or if you already have it, you add your wisdom to your allowed number of attacks of opportunity as well. The improved critical feat for free, or if you already have it, increase the threat range of your weapon of choice by 2, and whirlwind attack for free, or if you already have it, the ability to whirlwind attack as a standard action. So anyways, the quickest way to get in this class is 7 levels of Psychic Warrior. So you're not starting on this class until 8th level, but having a 13 through 20 crit range with a falchion that has a 3 times modifier several times a day, or a scythe with a 17 through 20 crit range for a ×5 damage on the sillier ends of things is quite the sales pitch for a class. It should be noted the bonded weapon is optional, as you can just purchase a crystal weapon of your chosen type that's enchanted, and the whole class works just fine with those. Its combat power is more bursty and does come at a decent cost of manifester levels and feat taxes, but with that said, this class is great at the thing it does, which is just produce amusing fucking crits. I thought we got over the adding to crit ranges in 3.0. Yeah, there's a reason why they stopped doing that. Let's see, power conversions. These were basically earlier power, earlier feat, or not feats, earlier powers from 3.0 Mind's Eye articles. They updated 3.5, basically ones that come here. Most notable on them was the Change Fate spell, which is another one of the Change a Die Roll ones. This one costs 500 XP, but unlike a lot of the one, unlike the other one that costs XP, this one's worth it because it changes to a natural 20. Did you fail that save or die effect? No, you didn't. Psychic Theurge, which I didn't even bother putting a write-up for because this is pretty much what it says on the tin. This is the Divine Spellcaster Manifester version. The one in it. This what more weirded me out mildly is the fact that this didn't actually exist already, but it is basically just Mystic Theurge for those two. Not much else to say, but a good thing to have. Yeah. Cerebromancer was the one in Expanded Psionics Handbook, and that's Arcane and Manifesting.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Alright, Body Leech. Evil Psionic class that leeches bodies with its unique powers, costing a couple of Manifestor levels as well. The main thing going on here is you put victims in a cocoon that lasts for a few days. You can deal damage to all of their physical stats to gain power points. Outside of that, the class has 3 unique powers that we'll talk about in a second. The Die Hard feat, and a once a day that lets you permanently swap minds with a qualifying creature in one of your cocoons. Whenever you would be reduced to, I believe, whenever you'd be reduced to 0 or fewer hit points, basically when you're about to die, you can just jump into someone else's mind. That's in one of your cocoons. So, as for the powers, Stasis Cocoon is the base power of this class, really. It only works on conscious things and lasts for a day per level, giving you a long amount of time to use the victim as a battery. The tether, also once the duration is over, they're dead. The Tether Hound is a fairly strong guardian for your cocoons, but it takes a minute to summon, so it isn't really a combat thing unless you're dragging around cocoons, which I guess you could do that. There's actually nothing that says you can't pick up the cocoons. And Greater Stasis Cocoon is a type of save or die effect that can be undone with a large amount of damage as well. So this is very much an NPC template as a class, mostly because of the amount of RP time it might eat up at a table is not insignificant, even if you are playing an evil campaign, so some hand waving should be done. And the main thing I'd want to do here is a cadre of Tether Hounds, as the augment on that power is stupid strong. It's every power point, it just gains 2 hit dice and plus 2 strength. Let's see. And here we see Weapons of Legacy. So the first article was just talking about Weapons of Legacy and the psychic weapons in there. The second one was actually presenting a psychic weapon of Legacy, which, needless to say, it sucks. But so moving on. It is also fairly boring anyways, because it's a Weapon of Legacy. The one thing that is interesting about it is that is one of the dual form types, so it's either a sword or a staff. So depending on whether you're basically whether you're a psychic warrior or a scion, basically. Yeah. And now Subverted Scion, a class 4 Heroes of Horror, or based on Heroes of Horror, basically, because that's kind of what the Mind's Eye articles do. It is a Taint-oriented 13-level Manifestor class. It gets, let's see, a Will Save to advance as a different class, or has to make a Will Save to advance as a different class, is completely immune to the effects of Taint, including the Death and Insanity parts, but you have a cap equal to the amount that would have been the limit before you would have died. And the other... also, instead, you gain the effects of corruption and depravity as you level. The rules as written, this still comes with the bonus feats as you gain more as you gain those effects, so it kind of evens out. You also gain extra power points equal to your Taint score.
Sorry,
wait,
I've been trying to contain it.
Yeah. Which, by the way, can be quite a lot. So let's say you just had a modest 14 in Wisdom and Con. This would let you have 55 in each of those for Corruption and Depravity, so you'd have 110 extra... extra power points, which I'll go over in a minute. The ability to create eventually 4 tainted minions using a ritual. It's a template basically that you can throw on things and make them your minions, sort of. They gain the tainted template if they have no more than half your hit dice. You keep control over them. You also gain Fearsome Shroud, a psi-like power that costs 7 power points, and and you can spend It costs 7 power points and your psionic focus, but it gives you half your class level as a deflection bonus to AC, and forces anyone who sees you to make a will save or take a -4 on d20 rolls for a round per class level. You also get the ability to temporarily create Fistic, which is a middling challenge range 6 psionic monster as a full round action for for 1 day per 3 class levels, but only 1 at a time. Phantasmal Shroud, which is upgraded Fearsome Shroud, costs 11, but doesn't cost your psionic focus anymore, and makes a free touch attack every round at something within 10-foot reach for 3d6 damage on a failed will save. The ability to create a Caller in the Darkness, a CR9 incorporeal undead creature, basically, by having at least 12 humanoids die in a state of fear and horror, as well as an 8-hour ritual. And the capstone of Phantasmal Form, a 17 power point standard action supernatural ability that gives you +6 deflection bonus to your AC, forces anyone who sees you to make a DC 30 will save or be stunned for a round, followed by taking a -4 d20 rolls while they're still around you. So you lose no manifesting levels and can potentially gain extra power points, rivaling what you get from having 20 levels of Psychic Warrior before accounting for higher stats than just 14 in those 2 stats, which you will have at a certain point because you just buy freaking items. If you ignore the menagerie of things you can summon or the shrouds, which are fairly good on their own, add to this that you're no longer playing a game of chicken with your taint scores. They can be as high as you want and they're not going to kill you. So you might as well... honestly, I would just ban this class in national campaign involving taint. This is just fucking stupid. Which is saying something. Let's see. Yes, and based on Magic Record, Soul Manifester, a hybrid Manifester Soul Mail class. It progresses in both fully, lets you invest Essentia into powers when you shape Soul Melds, which essentially gives you a +1 DC and Manifester level the first time you use that power, and then returns the Essentia to your pool so you can invest as normal. Also lets you invest 2 points for twice the bonus eventually. The ability to buy a low and mid level chakras, because that's doesn't happen when you invest meld shaping class because they're weird like that. And a capstone that lets you once per round as a free action pay an amount of power points equal to your highest level power you can manifest. To gain that level as Essentia for 1 round, you basically can pay. So yeah, so basically you can pay 1 power. When you can manifest first level powers, you can pay 1 power point to gain 1 Essentia, 3 to gain 2, 5 to gain 3, 7 to gain 4, etc. Which you would still need to use a swift action to invest into things, and will only last for a round. So this is what it says on the tin. It takes 2 levels of Totem Mister Incarnate and 3 levels of Manifester to get into, with Totem Mist probably being your better option. But it depends on what you're trying to do with Soul Melds, and ignoring the class features, it's just plain good as a Mystic Theater style class with a couple of minor bonuses stacked on. You really can't go wrong with basically adding 2 classes together, practically. Also in this book is the Psychic Soul Melds. Astral Vambraces is also a fairly notable one because you bind this to your hands, you get 2 slam attacks. Which is one of the few ways for Incarnate to get more than 1 attack at lower levels. It's more straightforward than usual for them. Also is actually a fairly large amount of damage reduction at a low level, considering they can put 2... Yeah, they could have damage reduction 6 magic at level, 2. By just shaping this one. Also a few other ones, they weren't good or bad, but yeah. Let's see. Also, 3 more vestiges for Binder, were in these articles. All three of which were kind of along the same idea of when you bind this vestige, you gain power points. And can spend them as normal. It also will give you like a few powers and some other little effects, like Air at the first Ellen here, for example, gives you DR5 as well as these 3 powers, mostly healing powers. +4 resistance bonus to save of your choice as well, which probably does next to nothing depending on how good of a mantle you have. Actually, this is it's a 4th level vestige, so that probably does something at least. Triad gives their own trinity of powers and bonuses. And Schismoid here as well is basically, here's a bunch of power points. Here's some powers to manifest, including Astral Construct. It's also, however, an 8th level, so you're getting out at 15. Let's see. Yes, and the final section here, the expanded classes. So these are alternate class features akin to basically it's doing for the psychic classes what Player's Handbook did for all of the all of the core classes and a few of the complete classes from the complete books. So yeah, starting with Psychic Warrior, here's just alternate class features. This one, lose your 2nd level bonus feat, but you gain access to a mantle. Or this one for, let's see, 2nd level bonus feat, choose a soul battle weapon, 1st level, gain weapon focus with that weapon. Yes, first I have to learn call weaponry as well. It basically lets you call a weapon that has a decent, or yeah, that you can augment for a better bonus than normal with call weapon. Let's see, alternate class features for Soul Knife. Hidden talent, basically it's better wild talent. You also get a power with it. The only thing that actually makes Soul Knife psionic in the base book is the fact that they have hidden talent. And bonus feat, which is easily the best alternate class feature for Soul Knife, though this is a low bar considering there's only 2, but it's legitimately good. So in place of that Psychic Strike die, which is that D8 that they can get by charging their blade that only works on living targets and you expend it when you hit, you just get like 5 bonus feats as you level up. This is especially good if you're going into Soul Bow. Yeah, any feat your Mind Blade can benefit from, or any feat designed for soul knives. Let's see. Expand classes for Wilder. Let's see. Educated Wilder, which is also one of the better ones. So you give up the feature that makes it harder for them to manifest powers on... Yeah, harder for them to manifest powers on your mind. Instead, just gain expanded knowledge 4 times. On the class that gets like 11 powers normally of choice. This is nearly a 50% increase in the amount of powers they can actually pick from. And Mantled Wilder, which lets you replace a slightly better class feature in order to gain a mantle. With the clause of you have to take powers from that mantle first, and considering the limited amount of power choices, that's not exactly great. And alternate class features for Scion, which, strangely enough, they did for every single sub-type of Scion. So for Egoist here, they have Change Shape, which replaces their first level, but they get the minor shape change feature that Changelings have. Or 5th level, in place of the bonus feat, they can just have access to Life Mantle, because... Okay, I guess they can be good healers too now. Just fine, Egoist was one of the weaker discipline choices anyways. Let's see, Kinesis, the blasty ones. Energy swap, spending psionic focus, you can swap energy, greater animator. Yep, gives an extra augmentation to control objects, basically control heavier things. Nomad. Let's see. Their bonus. Yes. Create extra dimensional storage space. Access by expanding your psionic ability. This doesn't have a duration. You just have your own basically bag of holding or quasi bag of holding thing. And Temporal Grace, which is not worth the feat. Let's see. seer here. Ah, yes, replace your bonus feat for the psionic equivalent of bardic knowledge, or gain fate points from the Everrun book, which will, for your bonus first level feat, these are actually exclusive. Fate points are actually fairly good if your campaign isn't already using them anyways. Let's see. Shaper, where you get two options, where trinkets, it's for your first level feat, sacrifice your first level feat. As a move action, you can just create minor things. And for fifth level feat, if you know Astral Construct, which if you're Shaper, you know Astral Construct because it's one of the main reasons to be a Shaper. Yes, you can actually manifest a specific Astral Construct. One form of it, as I believe it was. Okay, so by sacrificing Psionic Focus, you can actually just manifest an Astral Construct as a quick action, as a swift action. The clause here is you have to pick one specific form, and it's only that one you can ever manifest instead of a swift action. Though you can change that every time you gain a level. So it's just plain good. You basically have your go-to, but you can do it as a swift action. Let's see, Telepath. Supernatural Telepathy for your fifth level feat, which is kind of amusing. Or let's see, Harbinger. Yes, you make False Sentry and put slightly better. So expanded for Ardent, which was one of the better ones. Elemental Mantles, these are just alternate choice. Basically, there's only one elemental mantle normally. This is dividing it into four different four different mantles for each of the elements. Dominant Ideal, which is one of their most powerful alternate class features. So instead of getting the mantle at 10th level, they choose one of their primary mantles. When they use Meta Psionics to augment anything on the mantle, they no longer have to expend their Psionic Focus, and it costs 2 less to use it on every single power on that mantle. Actually lets them use Meta Psionics fairly well. And Substitute Power, which is not an alternate class feature so much as just advice for changing powers out on mantles. Talk to your DM. Let's see. Divine Mind, Ectopic Ally, which is highly recommended if for some reason you're running a Divine Mind. It basically lets them, as a Psi-like ability, summon an Astral Construct, which with Manifestor level equal to the actual class level, so they can augment it proper. And they get one use at level 1, one use every 2 levels. They can spend extra uses in order to basically manifest it as well if they don't have or want to spend the power points. Let's see, Stygian Path, which is you lose Divine Grace for turn undead, but you have to expend your Psionic Focus to use that turn undead. You just keep Divine Grace, honestly. And Hidden Talent, which is slightly better than Wild Talent. And the alternate one for Lurk, which if you want to make Lurk a worse class, you could choose either of these, because this one is focused on giving you all that trap finding and trap sense that they purposely left off of Lurk, and this one was lets you track things instead of most of the stuff you give a fuck about. Right. Yes, and Erudite, and possibly one of the most broken things you can do with Psionics, which is convert spell to power. So yeah, the Erudite class that was in the back of the Complete Psionics book had the ability to, for not terribly large amounts of experience, learn basically any power. This expands it to, at the cost of their first level bonus feat, expands it so they can also learn spells. Up to one level lower than what they can normally manifest, which is completely fucking silly. With the clause of you have to spend extra power points for extra damage dice on damage spells, which is not what you would ever fucking be doing with this. Let's see. And there was a couple, then there were some more monsters, but again, there's not really any pictures, so they're more just interesting things to throw at players. And that was basically the last article that was on the website. So when the creators of Mind's Eye were done with when the thing was basically all over and done, they actually compiled a PDF of everything that was in Mind's Eye, but the only thing that wasn't in the PDF was all of these alternate class feature stuff that for some reason didn't make it into the PDF. But what did make it into the PDF were these 3 powers that they just had lying around that never actually got into a Mind's Eye article. So that was kind of a neat little bonus extra. They weren't exactly great, but they were there. And yeah, that's pretty much all of this.
All right, a regular potpourri of stuff, but
yeah, basically
interesting things that were a little off the beaten path from where people might usually be looking at stuff.
Yeah. And it's no longer on Wizards' website because it is old as shit for an edition they no longer support. 2 editions back at that, so... But it was findable on the Wayback Machine at least, and yeah, they did also compose a PDF for it, so it's not like it isn't out there. But yeah, I kind of found that interesting, and like almost wish I was actually looking at Wizards' website more when we actually were playing 3.5 in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, I figured I'd go over all that stuff because, it's lying around, and I keep occasionally mentioning it.
And it is kind of interesting to actually see stuff that didn't make it into actual book.
Yeah. They did publish a decent amount of supplemental stuff in general. It was also interesting that it just had a psionic focus series of articles that basically kept updating whenever they released books. And yeah, just was an interesting bit of internet archaeology to do, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's all we have for you this week, basically, for D&D and Hindsight. Join us on Sunday for more Super Robot Wars 30, where we finally actually get to advance the plot, or get to actually do plot missions again. Join us on Monday for more Digimon Stories Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory, for when we continue to do Hacker's Memory stuff. Not a whole lot of difference between plot missions or side missions in that game, really. Or at least doesn't feel like it. Considering it is literally a side story in a game.
It is a side story that is substantial length.
Yeah.
We actually looked into it because we were curious how far we are. We're not even halfway done yet.
Oh, damn. Okay, then.
Yeah.
But based on the number of chapters, assuming every chapter is the same length, we're not halfway done yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
And join us back here on Thursday when we go over Monster Manual 4, among other things. Yeah. Until then, I'm Vincent.
I've been the Krampus.
I've been Shiv.
I've been Hunter Grain.
And I'm Vincent. And remember, everyone, a Greek scribe once wrote, "Sight seen in the mind's eye can never be destroyed." Also, hindsight's 2020.